That's right, back from Australia and now coaching the Romanian team and this very promising young Romanian. So a good second lift there of 167.5, and he of course has one attempt remaining to increase his snatch lift.
But this is a very tight category, just 10 kilos between the lifters, their entered weights, 7 from Europe, 2 from Asia, 1 from Australia, and in fact one defector, Markoulas of Greece, who was due to take part. As we've seen with most of the Greek athletes, the one thing we can say about them is that we haven't really seen them pre-qualified for the Olympic Games, and in a way disappointing that they have chosen en masse virtually to not take part in the championships. 1 or 2 last-minute injuries to the likes of Selidis and Sabonis really have made the situation that much more disappointing. So this is a 21-year-old Turk. This is Suna Ural, and that's a first snatch of 170, David, so that's a pretty good effort. And 184 kilos 40 for his body weight, and that's likely to be a factor here. Calancia, who you saw in that first snatch just a moment ago, or his second snatch I should say, 84 kilos 45.
Yes, and that was a very impressive start for the man who was just out of the junior ranks.
Now Huan Ayun for China, 7th a year ago in the world, comes to these world championships as the Asian champion. Has snatched 170 kilos, did so this year on his way to a total of 377.5.
Yes, Chinese not known for their strength in the heavier men's classes, but has to be said that this man is dangerous.
Yeah, he's 26. He's one of the more mature members of the squad, and he's got actually a PB of 175. So lifting well, and with another 5 kilos will actually get up to that PB mark. Looking for a total of 390 for the championship this year in the world's what I was going to say, in the 380 actually he's looking for this year, and actually has achieved 377 in the Asian Championships.
But this man, of course, the world record holder with 182.5 kilos in the snatch, weighed in very light, just a fraction over 82
well, actually,
kilos.
Sorry to correct you, David, but former world record holder, because Andrei Rybakov holds the snatch record at 182.5 kilos now. So Chakoyan, formerly from Armenia, these days from Australia, gets his challenge underway with 172.5 kilos. And body weight really on his side, David. Look at that, 82 kilos 70, and he very much is the light man amongst the main contenders.
So he must have equalled the world record then, or somebody else must have. He did break the world record earlier in here. Someone else must have sneaked that other.
Well, Rybakov
sneaked that one in then.
No, the credit. I think what actual Chakoyan has done is he's equalled it, but because he did it second, it's not awarded to him. Rybakov got there first. But nonetheless, a good lift for this man who was, well, 6th for the Olympic Games for Armenia back in Atlanta, and 6th for Australia last time out in Sydney. So now Anishanka for Belarus. This is his opening effort here. And Anishanka, 84 kilos 44, so lighter than Calancia, lighter than Juan. Good explosion.
Yes, solid start. So he, of course, has a snatch on the board and has 2 attempts to move it forward.
Yeah, it went badly wrong for him in the Europeans this year, when he actually failed in the clean and jerk phase to get any of his 3 attempts, and therefore didn't end up with a total. But of course, one significant name that is not in the lineup today, Zlatan Vanev of Bulgaria, the defending world and European champion, one of 3 Bulgarians. Vanev, together with Boevsky and also Georgi Markov, suspended just prior to the championships for irregularities in the out-of-competition doping tests that were done mid-October, and of course the outcome of that will be forthcoming in the next month or two. Probably it'll be January before we get any clarity on the situation, but obviously the Bulgarians disappointed not to have their man here. The other, of course, big absentee is Georgi Azanidze, David, who, if you remember, that was the world champion 2 seasons ago. As you see, Sunar of Turkey, successful for a second time. I was going to say, Azanidze, if you remember, we were looking forward to seeing him in Warsaw, and he had shoulder problems, a couple of operations which had gone badly wrong, and it seems now that the best days of that Georgian lifter, who was really, really effective in the snatch phase as well as, you know, the overall competition, are past. So 2 major names not here.
Yes, so really, and with Mark Huster retiring and Dimas possibly, or almost certainly, moving up into the 94 kilo class, I would have said that this class for the Olympic Games is certainly wide open, and with men like this man, Sunar, very, very young and improving, that 7 months could, between now and the Olympic Games, could make a significant difference.
So going to 175, which will put him into first place in the snatch, is Huan of China. As I said earlier on, when you saw him on his previous lift, this will be right on his PB mark. There's another star of the championships, the very animated Chinese coach. He's going to be animated for the wrong reasons now.
Well, I heard him laughing. I think he knew the ability of his lifter. He knew that perhaps 170 was his limit, and 175 was maybe being a bit ambitious. So he's not disappointed.
Yeah, and these men all now well past the efforts posted in the B ranking division, which preceded this competition. And Chakoyan, interesting, 172.5. Anishanka, 172.5. And that's failure Juan's really, really important. But the bar has gone up to 177.5. So second attempt here for Sergo Chakoyan, 34 years of age. He's the senior member amongst the finalists today. One more go.
So 5 kilos down on his personal best, and not really close with that.
The 182.5, just to demystify what you were saying earlier on, David, the 182.5 that he lifted was this season in the Grand Prix in Moscow, but of course that wouldn't count for world record rankings. It's got to be the major championships where those efforts are given world record status. So same path here for Anishanka of Belarus. Now, Anishanka is 84 kilos 44, so he's heavier than Chakoyan. Yeah. But nonetheless, this is only his second attempt, so this would be the moment to do this. It would give him the lead.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, that was much, much closer than Chakoyan. Also to remember, David, that Sunar has got his third attempt to come, and Sunar on 84 kilos 40 is slightly lighter than Anishanka, but of course both of them much, much heavier than Chakoyan on 82 kilos. So it's one good lift here, David, from any of those three could secure the snatch title, and maybe a bit of an advantage going into the second half. So, third and final attempt.
Yes, this is the leader at the moment, of course, by virtue of that very light body weight, 82.7. Now trying to increase his lead further and put more pressure on his opponents.
Home for him in his newly adopted country is Melbourne.
Just not there today for him, David.
Well, you know, that's, I was just going to say, David, 177.5, well within his compass, but the way things have played out, I just wonder whether it would have been sensible if either he or Anish Shankar had gone for a 175, because at the moment, 175 would have been good enough. You know, they're stuck on 172.5. Juan didn't make the 175.
Yeah, but
so
it's the judgment, of course, of the coaches. I mean, they're in the warm-up, they're seeing what's happening, and at the moment, it's looking as if they've overestimated the other competitors. They've obviously taken these heavier weights because they think that other lifters are going to be able to achieve them, but so far, that's not the way it's been played.
So, the world silver medalist of 2001. Alexander Anish Shankar, who actually, on his way to that overall silver medal, did pick up this amount, 177.5.
So this for the lead, it's better, and out the back door. Well, he's annoyed, and you can understand why. Not strength, purely a technical error, and that technical error has cost him the gold medal.
Yeah, it'd be good, David, if you take us through that error when we actually see the replay, because he, you know, on both attempts he wasn't that far away from actually being able to achieve this weight.
Well, that's right. On the first attempt, he just didn't quite manage to pull the weight high enough, and of course the tendency then is to lean back about now at the top of the pull, which of course creates that backward momentum on the bar. So instead of just pulling it straight up and then sitting straight down, he's leaned on it. And when you've got nearly 400 pounds going backwards, it's very, very difficult to hang on to it.
So here we go, David. This is the last lift of the snatch phase of the championship, and it's Erdal Sunar for Turkey, 21 years of age, with a major opportunity of taking the gold medal. And if he lifts this, of course, David, he's going to have a 5 kilo advantage over... Not to be.
Well, 175 would have been the weight. I mean, that was so close. He looked fantastic on his opener of 170. He looked just as good on 172.5, and it's just a shame that none of the coaches actually opted for that 175 weight.
Yeah, very interesting when you consider that he came into these championships with a personal best of 155, and he's actually, you know, improved that to 172.5 kilos. I mean, Sunar
only just missed 177.5, so this is why athletes like him are very worrying for the other lifters, especially with there still being 7 months to go to the Olympics.
Well, it's Sergo Chakyan who gets it by virtue of that lighter body weight. Just one correction, I said 155. Actually, he lifted 165 in Pavia in the World Student Games, but none.